So I've just watched the Tucker Carlson tonight with day two of his thing. There were some good moments, really good cackle at on Tucker's part at Mitch McConnell's expense, which is 100% fine with me. As I said in my previous video, Republicans are also coming up on open season. I'll say that's open now. And basically you can't define it as MAGA. You can't define it as Trump supporters. You can define it as people who understand that J6 was some hokey bullshit, as well as a setup, as well as if they had just all been armed and prepared to shoot, to kill, we would not be suffering as we are now. That's the delineation. Anyone who calls himself a Republican is probably not going to be, or a conservative even for that matter, is probably not, they're going to be like, those people were dumbasses for getting, tricked into the thing. Okay, that's cool. But, and I'll be honest, I have not encountered a single person who has told me that there's any Republican, conservative, right-wing, anything. Not a one has been like, wow, I don't think anyone should have done anything. I think they should have just accepted the results. What this tells me is, as I've, strike that. In a video I deleted that did not upload, because there were some bad takes, but there were some good takes, and I didn't feel like clipping it. There are morals, principles that people stick to, that they live by, that they really live by. And I say it that way for the benefit of anyone who is watching this that does not have those kind of principles. I haven't checked my subscriber count to see if after the last video anybody has unsubscribed from my channel yet. People that live by principles are going to, and if the principles are sound, are going to naturally, just by default, by nature, are going to live their lives in such a way that they are able to survive or even prosper. People that have none get led around, and by being led around, waste all of their time, energy, and resources, including money, on anything but what benefits them for survival. And why are we here? Survival, perpetuation of the species. This is going to become a recurring theme because we are in an extinction level event. Just the beginning of it, but it is here. Now the thing to understand is, when the asteroid hit 65 million years ago, it was not the only one. And when the dinosaurs died, they did not just all die at once. Some of them lived on for like almost 1 million years. A couple of species persisted as the other mammals evolved around them. At the time of the mammals is now, people think. It wasn't just, no more dinosaurs, and the mice start turning into elephants. It's not like that. It was never like that. There were like ceratopsians, a couple of theropods, I think some of the ornithomimids managed to survive, a handful, and they very sparsely continued for some time until eventually they simply were outdone by what came out of the mammals. As accelerated evolution happens, nature abhors a vacuum. There's an absence of something that was normally going on, something else will arise to become that. So, like, if we go extinct, that's fine. Something else, unless we completely ruin the planet. And I'm not talking about climate shit. I'm talking about like the Matrix, how they just like black the sky and like scorch everything, literally. And even there, probably some kind of life would survive. Whatever it is that survives that becomes the dominant species of the planet. From everything else that we know about evolution, you can't say that we are the peak or the pinnacle or anything. We are a freaking anomaly. Whatever comes after, be it the cockroaches, be it spacefaring water bears or whatever. It's possible something else will evolve into a level of interaction with environment as we have. But at the same time, we are obviously self-destructive as a species. We cannot handle this. So what's to say the next one will be able to do any better? What's to say the next one will even make it that far? Maybe it's not supposed to. Like I said, I think we're an anomaly. A what if? Maybe that's the nature of the simulation. What if, out of the universe of bacterial, fungal, and tardigrade life, what if something was to evolve to a point on a single planet somewhere isolated in the middle of nowhere? What could happen? Are we the pinnacle of that? Okay, well, we're going to rise up, we're going to eat ourselves and collapse. And then after that, there may not be anything further on a graph over time of intellectual capacity and mobility, self-awareness as a species or whatever. If we're able to get through this, boy, let me tell you, if humans survive an extinction level event like we're going through, the ones that survive are either going to die out immediately or are going to become gods. Está número dos. There were a number of senators who stood up in the Senate and decried the release of information that is public record. We are taxpayers. We fund it. The law is very clear, as is the Constitution. We have every right to know. And the more we see, the more we understand. And the more we understand, the less standing they have. And so they are panicking. What is going on right now is a mainstream media meltdown. They're freaking out. Some of the things that they cited, Don Lemon complaining about fairness, Chuck Schumer standing on the Senate floor, hands in his pockets, almost a shrug, talking about the big lie being perpetuated as Tucker's showing unedited, unretouched footage of surveillance video of the event in question. And as Mr. Carlson mentioned, they seem to be doing this Soviet Union, Nazi Germany, don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe the things you're seeing unfold before you. Believe what we tell you. That's what they're saying. They're freaking the fuck out, man. It's hilarious. Don't believe them. That's all I'm getting at. I'm not going to convince you of shit. And if you don't like the idea of removing yourself from the population and therefore the gene pool, thus enabling what is left of humanity to potentially survive this otherwise extinction level stupidity, now, I mentioned something in the previous video about shutting the fuck up about climate change. Here's the thing. The real solution to climate change, according to the argument presented by the climate change protesters, not cutting the things like they're suggesting, because those are the people that, as I previously said, are advocating for self-destructive bad ideas in the name of good thing. They believe the bad thing is actually good thing. which means they are confused or crazy, demoralized. I said that word already, right? Previous video. People who have morals, whose moral compass is not damaged or missing or whatever, because a damaged one can still be fixed. Trust me. Trust me. For those who are demoralized, they must build their own compass rather than be guided by someone else, because there's a needle and it's moving and they're following. Somebody's underneath the table with a little thing. Don't fucker. Go that way. Okay, don't go that way. People with morals have a compass that directs where right is, according to their morals. And as long as they live by their morals and it points in the right direction, yes, it could lead a good conservative Christian person to get utterly murdered by Antifa, because you have to account for that. But at the same time, those people being murdered by Antifa are also of a belief system that once they're dead, they're in heaven with Jesus, and it's hunky fucking dory. And maybe they're right, they're probably right. So, it's the afterlife. It's whatever it is. They're cool with it. That's the difference. Well, the other ones that don't have morals, they are just directed to do whatever, controlled. They may claim that they are okay with it if it should happen, but I don't think they would be. Typically, they tend to just falter, collapse morally. They are just terrified as soon as it's like the guy that tried to kill Kyle Rittenhouse and then ended up getting part of his arm blowed off. And now he wants to sue the dude because his fifis are hurt. And it's like, you piece of shit. You went there directed like everyone else. This kid's just trying to get the fuck out and you're like, attack him! Man, fuck you. And you shouldn't get anything out of that. That's absolutely ridiculous. Your intent was to kill. He defended himself. You got injured. How are you able to sue him for damages? That should be just flicked straight out of court. That's what kind of batshit backwards world we're living in, though. The solution to the climate crisis is to get rid of the climate crisis protest movement. And I don't mean squash the movement. I mean round them all up. Do the thing. They are typically some of the worst overconsumers of products that require enormous amounts of strip mining to acquire, and strip mining requires diesel. There's no electric strip mining. Diesel, carbon footprint, all the things they're complaining about because they're hypocrites, like I've been talking about. For their phones, their tablets, their computers, their solar, their freaking Tesla car battery, whatever, all their electric vehicles, all that crap is horrible for the environment to acquire it. People die. Just getting the materials. People die. People die getting the materials from point A to point B away from there. It's so gnarly out there where they're doing it. People die. It's a suffering machine that creates the devices that these literal idiots use to try and tell everyone that 97% of climate scientists agree about a thing, from the same scientific community that told you things about safe and effective, from the same community that keeps talking about dark matter and asking for more money. I'm just saying it's a pattern. The solution to the climate crisis would be if you got rid of all those people and all of their overconsumption, and therefore all of the demand for the supply of all of those things that require the terrible environmental, and people die during the process things of getting the rare earth elements and whatever else. If you just round up all those protesters, get rid of their carbon footprint, compost them, probably be enough worldwide. Greta, get rid of Greta. Just Compost Greta. And all of them. Think about it. The boats, them freaking people at Davos, get rid of them. Compost them. Compost them. Them private jets. John Kerry, compost pile. Private jet to the climate summit. Just saying. Get rid of all of those people. The proponents, the protesters, all of them. Get rid of them. Either you're getting rid of dum-dums, stupids that we don't need, or you're getting rid of crooked politicians and other bad people too, right? But under the genuine auspices of once their carbon footprint is eliminated, I'll bet we can maybe reduce carbon emissions a little bit. And then we can start talking about countries that the news don't want to talk about. Or we can just get rid of the news. So, I think that's all I've got for this one. Thankfully, it's been concise. Nothing's really changed, but I mean, I'm waiting for more people to realize exactly how fucked everything is. To realize that somebody do something is not a viable tactic. It's not a viable strategy. That's like saying that we need a civil war. No. What we need is a pogrom against certain people. And it's not based on any particular immutable trait. It has nothing to do with anything except the safety of all. Now, given that I am also a proponent of just allowing the extinction level event to happen, because obviously this is a waste and we're not going to be able to fix it, I'll stop complaining. I will clear the fuck up now.